The Naruto series is filled with many wonderful abilities, but some abilities go beyond what is normal. Some ninjutsu are so powerful or strange that they're labeled Shinjutsu. The greatest practitioner of Shinjutsu was Shibai, who, through his usage of the Senrigan, as well as the 10 Directions Shinjutsu, can see all of the past up to his birth, through the present, and into the many possible futures. It makes me wonder if other techniques, such as whatever Gamamaru used to predict the Child of Prophecy, as well as Shion's special dojutsu from the first Shippuden movie, were somehow connected to him, or at least a power like his. I can't be sure, so I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But that being said, it's made me think a lot about those abilities. What if Naruto had something similar to the 10 Directions, or Shion's dojutsu? How would it affect things? Well, that's what I'm hoping to find out. I hope you'll join me as we try to answer this question, but before we get into it, let me say, welcome to the Amagi. Before we begin, only 25% of our viewers are subscribed, so if you're a fan of the video, please like and double check if you are subscribed. And with that out of the way, let's start the video. Our boy Naruto. You love him. You gotta love him. After all, he's the main character. The central part of a long storyline already written. A single line heading to the future to which there is no variation. Well, I say that in the context of his canon, his established story. But as you know, what ifs exist, and this story is all about not me making the what if per se, but Naruto making it. You see, when fate writes a script, it expects you to stick to it. But what happens when you go off script? Well, the powers that be likely try to put you back on it, or else Naruto will force a complete rewrite. But then again, perhaps it always was his destiny to challenge fate, so does it not mean that it was his fate to defy fate? What a conundrum. But instead of wringing our brains on this, let me just explain in a simple way what's happened here. Naruto woke up one day and had the ability to see the future. Kinda. He could kind of see the future. In the form of a long-off deja vu, Naruto would involuntarily have dreams or visions of things yet to come to pass. It all really started after he stole that scroll from the Hokage to impress Iruka. Maybe something in there affected him. Perhaps he awakened some hidden ability. Who knew? But one thing was certain. Naruto could see the future. He had kept this on the DL when he was around the others, as he assumed it was some sort of biological function. After all, it was so similar to deja vu that he assumed it was, and some scientists, whether right or wrong, insinuated that deja vu was nothing more than a chemical reaction in the brain making one think that they were seeing the future when they weren't. He had decided to trust these scientists and assumed that it would clear up. After all, being 12, on the edge of 13, he was experiencing that liminal space, that transitional point between adolescence and adulthood called puberty, which was already a maelstrom of biochemical reactions. A slowly deepening voice, sudden growth spurts, and an inability to control the emotions he had, particularly anger, growing enraged over issues that used to roll off his back. That was until he had a new vision. He had a vision that something very important in his life was about to transpire, and what that thing was, he did not know. But what he did know was that he was supposed to be on the road, going somewhere. He quickly saw in his mind's eye the image of Hiruzen holding a piece of paper with a stamp on it. On the piece of paper, he saw the words Land of Waves and Escort. At first, Naruto assumed this to be no more than a dream he had in the night. One of those dreams so wild that it just couldn't be true. Except it was. He couldn't help but think about it. It was so vivid. What did it mean? When he and his team were about to receive a new mission from the Hokage one day, Naruto couldn't help but feel odd. There was this uncanny feel to the air, a feeling as though he had done this before. And why shouldn't he feel this way? After all, he had been in this office so many times that he couldn't count them anymore. So why did this one feel different? That question echoed through his mind the whole time he was in the room, and due to this feeling, he began examining things more closely. He felt as though he was being watched, yet that he wasn't at the same time. That feeling culminated into a sense of calm terror when he realized just how much everything seemed similar to his dream. There's no way it's true, Naruto thought as he looked around. As Hiruzen began to search for their next mission, Naruto's mind snapped. A crux of fate, a forked path. Whatever happened next felt as though it held the fate of the whole world on its shoulders. Not that it did, but that's the feeling Naruto got. Suddenly, his hand raised. This garnered attention from everyone in the room. Hiruzen looked up. "Yes, Naruto. Naruto lowered his hand and spoke. Gramps, do you happen to have an escort mission to the Land of Waves? Iruka spoke. I understand you want to see the world, Naruto, but this is a rite of passage. Every genin starts at the bottom. Hiruzen then pulled a piece of paper out and looked at it. How did you know? Hiruzen asked. Iruka looked over with surprise. Naruto spoke again. I just did. This answer didn't sit too well with the Hokage. He had known of ESP and the like, but Naruto had never shown any symptoms of psychic abilities. Hiruzen began to worry if somehow there was a mole or spy in the ranks, someone playing mind games with them, using Naruto as a pawn to try to get to them. Who told you of this? Naruto shook his head. I dreamed about it. Just a few nights ago, I saw myself standing in this very room, with this very group of people wearing these very same outfits. To be honest, we all only ever wear one outfit, Kakashi said. This was true, but all the same, Naruto spoke. In my dream, I saw a stamped piece of paper being handed to us. It said on it, Land of Waves and Escort on it. I believe it had to do with a builder of some sort. A man with glasses. Hiruzen was growing more suspicious. You're not lying to me, are you, Naruto? Nobody's threatening you. Nobody fed you this information? Naruto shook his head. Unless there's someone with the ability to imprint details from the future onto a dream and somehow project it into my head, no. There very well could have been someone with a strange set of skills that could do just that. But all the same, Hiruzen had no proof, though he would launch an in-house investigation into it. For now, if Naruto was having a dream that he was fated to go on this mission, Hiruzen would allow it. After all, he didn't want anyone to grow suspicious. See that you don't tell anyone at all about this conversation, Hiruzen said as he stamped the piece of paper and handed it to Naruto. Naruto smiled. Of course. Hiruzen looked at Kakashi, who nodded in understanding. Kakashi was Naruto's mentor and the one in charge of keeping track of him. It was now a secret objective of Kakashi's to watch the boy and make sure nobody was influencing him. From there, they went on the Land of Waves mission. Nothing in particular seemed to be happening any different from the pre-established lore of the canon. Fate was taking place perfectly so far. Not only were they traveling with a drunk builder wearing glasses, but they further were attacked by 2 rogue shinobi of Kirigakure, and even the Demon of the Mist, Zabuza, who could only really be defeated by the combined efforts of Naruto and Sasuke. But only because they had a very simple objective, which wasn't to actually defeat Zabuza, but to make him remove his hand from the prison that held Kakashi. Zabuza was heavily handicapped. If they had faced him alone any other time where he was expected to use any and all of his available skills, Sasuke and Naruto would have been dead in a minute. They got lucky, Naruto felt. But in the end, a victory is still a victory, and it seemed as though Zabuza was now dead, killed by one of the hunter nin of Kiri. With Tazuna safe and Kakashi now in a paralyzed state, they made their way to the Land of Waves, where they would rest for the time being. But all the same, something was off. Naruto was getting an uncanny feeling again, and he wasn't sure why. A feeling of paranoia, a feeling like the hands of time were once again wrapping their fingers around his throat. History had its eyes on him, and he had eyes on the future. And so it was, as Kakashi had him and Sasuke training to strengthen the ability to mold chakra on the soles of their feet, Naruto and Sasuke worked so hard that they collapsed from trying. During this time, Naruto had a vivid dream of the future. He saw himself, tears in his eyes, crying about how unfair the world was. He saw Kakashi standing there, his hand out as a Chidori, his eyes twisted in horror as old memories rushed back to him. At the end of his hand appeared to be a girl dressed as a boy, a girl with fair complexion, a beautiful face, and long flowing ebony hair. Despite her beauty, her face was marred by her own blood, as her strangely flat chest was rent open by Kakashi's hand. Truly a nightmare, to say the least, or so Naruto thought until he opened his eyes. The moment he did, though, he saw the face of the girl he had witnessed. Standing there in a pink kimono of cherry blossoms, Naruto felt as though he'd been awakened by an angel. Sitting up, he couldn't help but be amazed by her beauty. That was until the girl informed Naruto that she was not actually a girl, but indeed a boy. At that moment, everything made complete sense. The outfit the girl was wearing, the flat chest of someone that age. The girl was never a girl, but a boy with an effeminate face, and at the current moment, effeminate clothing. It was a strange feeling he got when he realized this, feeling a sense of betrayal in his heart by his own emotions for taking him down an awkward and unintended path. But quickly that feeling faded into the same uncanny feeling as before when he witnessed the future play out before his eyes in the present. Naruto reached out and gripped Haku's arm. Haku was startled by this, to the point of getting ready to reach for a kunai. This rarely happened to Haku, but on the rare occasion that it did, he was not above freezing solid the blood of anyone who harmed him. Yet for some reason, he didn't do this to Naruto. Maybe because looking into Naruto's eyes, he didn't see a threat, but fear. Concern. "Let me go, please," Haku said in a threatening tone. "Please. You need to listen to me. I just saw something terrible," he said, tears welling up in his eyes. This caught Haku's attention, and his heart was stirred toward compassion. That older brother nature in Haku had awakened. "What's wrong? Did someone hurt you?" he asked, having seen the same look on his own face in the past, particularly after he was forced to watch his mother die. "I had a dream, and in the dream I saw a rabbit, white and strong. It ran with dogs, and in the chaos and conflict between two warring wolves, it was pierced by an arrow not meant for him." Haku was understanding. Haku had always been compared to a rabbit by others. After all, his affiliation with Snow Release and his generally kind disposition, uncommon among shinobi in his position, Haku knew that he was speaking of him. But Naruto confirmed it. "Haku, I saw you die in my dream. How do you know my name?" "I saw you standing on the end of a chidori meant for your master, Zabuza." Haku gripped a senbon, ready to plunge it in and through Naruto's eye. He let out a breath that seemed to sap all warmth from the air, visible due to the cool nature of it among the morning's temperature. But something stopped Haku. Looking into Naruto's eyes again, he saw nothing but pain and fear, as though a man were watching two trains colliding, unable to do anything in time. "If I am your enemy, then why do you care?" "Because I don't want to be enemies. And even if you are my enemy, you deserve to be loved, same as anyone else." Haku was astonished by the boy's declaration. Pulling away, he stood. Unsure what to believe at this point, he simply went his own way. He stopped only for a moment. "If you're not willing to do what's required, then do not show up on that bridge." But of course, Naruto did. Despite his tiredness, he showed up on that bridge with his team bright and early, and due to being close to Sasuke while on the bridge, both Naruto and Sasuke were caught by Haku's attack. "Haku, wait!" Naruto shouted as he and Sasuke attempted and mostly failed to dodge the senbon. "I already told you, Naruto. If you aren't prepared to do the hard things, then you shouldn't come to the bridge." "And you're ready to do the hard things?" Naruto asked. Sasuke, at this moment, was confused. Did Naruto know this person? Haku spoke. "I am. Whether I must kill or be killed for my master, I will do so with a smile." "Master? So you're a slave to Zabuza?" Naruto shouted. Suddenly, a senbon struck Naruto in the leg, causing him to fall on his knee. "Don't impugn the honor of my master. He's no slave driver. He's the only family I have left." Haku, in his anger, targeted Naruto with more senbon, ready to kill, but Sasuke dove in the way and took them. Sasuke, falling back, was caught by Naruto. Naruto held him with fear in his eyes. Sasuke spoke. "Naruto, get your head in the game. If anything, this guy is right. If you're gonna be a shinobi, you gotta make the hard choices. You gotta..." Sasuke then seemed to go unconscious, or worse, all of the anger building up inside, the sorrow, the stress, from Sasuke's possible demise to Haku's refusal to listen to reason, anger and frustration at the world and its systems, toward fate and toward the ninja way, boiled to the surface in the form of his Nine Tails Jinchuriki cloak. Bursting through the mirror's heat, Naruto gripped Haku tightly. Smashing his fist into Haku's face, he shattered the mask. Haku, sitting there in fear, was ready for Naruto to kill him, but Naruto didn't. "I'm trying to save you, you idiot," Naruto said. "And you're making it so very hard to do so." Naruto looked back when he heard Sakura crying. He looked back. "What have you done?" Haku looked up as to see Zabuza, who was fighting Kakashi. He could tell Zabuza was on his last legs. His body was covered in ninken, weighted down, incapacitated from his wounds. He was 3 inches away from Kakashi's fatality. He could almost hear the announcer shout, "Finish him!" "Let me up," Haku shouted as he rolled over and began trying to crawl away. The hysterical strength he was displaying now almost seemed to be enough to overpower Naruto's initial Jinchuriki cloak. However, Naruto got back on top and began restraining him. "Stop it! I'm trying to save your life!" "You're destroying it!" Haku shouted. Naruto looked up. "Kakashi, wait! Don't kill..." He then saw that Zabuza had already been pierced by the Chidori and was now falling back. Haku managed to break free and rushed over to Zabuza. "Master!" he shouted. Zabuza looked at Haku. "Quit calling me that, you whelp," Zabuza said. "You're free." "I don't want to be free," Haku said. "I wanted to die. For you." Zabuza let out a sigh mixed with a cough. I never asked you to do such a thing. You need to face the truth. My end has come before yours, just as I had always hoped. What? Haku asked with confusion. Zabuza continued. You're too kind for this world, Haku. The shinobi world. All it does is kill and steal, and that's what I trained you to do. Then why did you take me in? Haku asked. Why? Zabuza looked at Haku. I saw you. After so many years of only ever destroying, I felt the urge, the desire to save something, to preserve it. And what thing could be more important to preserve than the innocence of a child? I have seen what happens when that's stolen away from a child. I could not let you lose yours. Then why did you train me to kill? I trained you to survive, Zabuza said, and you maintained your innocence. Your heart. You remained kind. A white rabbit soaked in blood, its coat remaining unblemished. But now it's time to let go, he said. It's time to let go of this life. Time to let go of me. I've fulfilled my duty with you, and now I'm confident that you can survive. How can I survive without you? You're the only real father I've ever known. Zabuza coughed and felt as though his end was near. It is the job of a father to prepare his child for the day he'll no longer be around. Why do you think they teach their children independence? That's what I taught you. It's time for you to recognize that I never wanted to be your master. I always wanted you to be your master. Zabuza. Tears streamed down Haku's face, freezing as they reached his chin. Zabuza then spoke. What is it that you want, Haku? I don't know, he said. Zabuza offered a smile. Yes, you do. I've seen what you write. I've heard what you ask for. It stands behind you. There are others like you, Haku. Be with them. Zabuza then looked to Kakashi. You better take care of him, he said. Kakashi offered a small nod. Zabuza looked back at Haku. Your future is yours, Haku. Do with it many good things. Be better than me. Haku nodded, trying to force a smile. I promise. Zabuza then passed on. Thankfully, Sasuke was not actually killed, but merely entered a death-like sleep from which he could be awakened. Things had not ended the way that Naruto had hoped, but he had come to learn that the future he saw could be changed, and so long as he had a say in the matter, he could alter the future to be whatever it was he knew it needed to be. This ability was a gift, and he planned to use it to steer the future toward the best he could possibly make it. The bridge was eventually completed. Gato and his men did try to attack it on various occasions, but it was always properly defended by the shinobi atop it. Eventually, Naruto and the others were allowed to return home to Konoha, and this time they had in tow Haku of the Yuki clan. Upon returning to the village, they would tell the Hokage of everything that happened, and Hiruzen would offer Haku refuge. You see, Haku, despite being in the bingo book under the pseudonym Rabbit, was never truly identified by anything more than his usage of Ice Release, his Hunter Nin mask, and his connection with Zabuza. And now that he was free of two of those three things, identifying him as the Rabbit would be next to impossible, so long as he didn't identify himself as such to anyone who may be searching. Haku would begin to grow a deeper bond with the people of the Village of the Leaves, to which he would pledge his allegiance. He would be allowed to join Team Kakashi, as it had been Zabuza's dying wish. Despite the fact that it was highly irregular for a 3-man team to become a 4-man team, it only seemed right. Haku, despite his skills, had never been actually considered an official shinobi, as his only training and certification came from a rogue shinobi. Due to this, Haku could only be granted the rank of genin. However, hope was not lost for Haku to become something greater, as the Chunin exams were scheduled to happen. But during this time, Naruto has another dream. He sees in this dream that he, along with the rest of Team 7, through their experiences in the Land of Waves, as well as the skill of Haku, would be allowed to take the Chunin exams. But during the course of this, he witnesses a man with a pale face and a snake-like air about him attacking the village. He sees him taking the form of the Kazekage, and then witnesses a body in the desert among the stones. The real Kazekage would be killed, and this would lead to a war breaking out in Konoha during the Chunin exams. A surprise attack that, during the course of it, would result in the death of Hiruzen. Naruto was sure to let the Hokage know. After Naruto told Hiruzen these things, Hiruzen would let him leave. However, he would call Kakashi into his office and ask him to speak honestly. Do you believe that Naruto is telling the truth? Kakashi would stand silent for a moment, contemplating everything. I don't know how or why, but I have been watching him. Nobody has come or gone during his sleep. I even recruited Inoichi Yamanaka to perform sensory-type duties while around Naruto, and he detected no trace of anything suspicious. from unknown persons to transmitted chakra signals. There's no genjutsu, ninjutsu, or anything of the sort. It seems possible that Naruto has somehow attained the ability to glimpse the future with great detail. He told me he also dreamed about Haku as well, to which Sasuke can attest. Naruto seemed to have prior knowledge, despite no evidence being present that Naruto had known Haku before this dream. Naruto possesses the ability to sense the future, but if you look at this objectively, you might ask yourself how he knows who Orochimaru is, without having ever witnessed, seen, or heard about him. He also somehow knew that the only Kage attending the Chunin exams besides you is the Kazekage. I don't know if we've even released that information yet, let alone if Naruto has heard it. I feel as though if Naruto says something's going to happen, that we learn to trust his intuition, because the way I see it, Naruto is very likely correct in this situation, and we need to begin investigating what he has said to us to validate everything. Hiruzen nodded in acknowledgement. I trust your judgment, Kakashi. I will do as you say, but first, you need to know what's at stake here. If during the Chunin exams I arrest Rasa, and somehow Naruto is wrong, this could cause an international incident, something that will be very hard to get out of, and could possibly lead to war. A world war in the worst case scenario. I need you to promise me that you truly believe this will come to pass. Kakashi sat there and balanced everything in his mind. He understood the skepticism of Hiruzen, and even himself felt fear due to the possibilities that arise from such information. However, Kakashi trusted Naruto, and knew that his dreams had a meaning and were important to the village's future, whatever it may be. I trust Naruto, sir, Kakashi said. And if you ask if I would trust him and do as he asked if I were Hokage? The answer is yes. He's given me no reason to doubt him. Hiruzen looked down. Okay, we will work on this. We'll send a group of shinobi toward an area that Naruto is most likely talking about, and we will determine if Rasa is first dead. That will at least give me peace of mind before I arrest the Kazekage. Kakashi nodded. Understandable. After this, Naruto, Sasuke, Sakura, and Haku signed up for the Chunin exams. During the beginning stage, they're forced to take a test. For the most part, everything remains the same for the written test save the inclusion of Haku. Besides Sakura, the smartest person on Team 7 right now would be Haku himself, who edges out even Sasuke with his studies. The reason being that he wasn't just the student of an Anbu member, but the student of one of the strongest shinobi to ever walk out of Kirigakure. Haku was trained to the bone to become a weapon worthy of surviving in a world as bleak as this. But physical training wasn't the only training he'd ever accomplished, and among the many different types of training he did, there was studies. Anywhere between history to chakra theory and any other schools of thought that would make him a deadly assassin. Due to his need for accuracy with Senbon, he would be well acquainted with mathematics and geometry, something Zabuza never particularly pushed, but Haku, through his own dedication, pursued anyway. Despite his intelligence, he knew this test seemed to go well beyond what was required for a Chunin. These were questions that would have been tough even for Zabuza, but thankfully, among the many things Zabuza had taught Haku was to think outside of the box, and not to feel beholden to unfair rules in the imperfect system of shinobi. So what was Haku's only recourse? To cheat, of course. In fact, whether it was desired by the test or not, Haku had turned cheating into a part of the test. He knew that if he could get away with stealing the answers he needed, he would definitely be Chunin material, as it was very important to being a shinobi to be able to discreetly collect data without anyone knowing. And so, for this, he began to coat the ceiling with a very thin layer of ice. In fact, it was transparent. So much so that nobody would notice at all. Despite that, he made it compatible with his demon mirroring ice crystals technique, to which he was able to see through the mirror to the ground below, and check out the collective answers of everyone nearby. Utilizing a theory he had learned called wisdom of the crowd, he began to average out all the answers to find what he assumed would be the most logical answer of them all. By the end, he had filled his paper with the most likely answers based on the averages between offsetting answers by those within the crowd. He was sure he was correct, or at least close enough to achieve a passing grade. However, that was until he heard of the final question, which would make or break his whole career. Haku knew that if he took this question, there was no turning back, and that he would either succeed and move on to the next round, or fail the test and lose the ability to become a Chunin forever. Despite these things, he decided to take the question anyway, certain that he'd be able to average out the answer the same way he had before. But by accepting it, Haku would actually pass, as would the rest of his team, much to his delight. Moving on, they entered the Forest of Death. In this forest, Naruto and the others would attempt to get the scroll they required. It was here that Naruto began to sense that something in his dream was approaching. As if he had spider sense going off, something warned him of imminent danger. He jumped out of the way just quickly enough to avoid being swallowed by a massive snake. It was here that Orochimaru would make his first appearance, the person from Naruto's dreams. While most were frozen though, Haku was able to move. He'd become accustomed to the killing intent of rogue shinobi and even had his own to counter, though rarely used. However, he unleashed it here to push back against Orochimaru's, hoping it would provide hope to the others that they could and would survive the ordeal. This is exactly what happened, and despite their fear, they could now move. Orochimaru did his best to keep pouring on the fear, but with Haku there, who was already bordering on Jonin levels, there was a bit more security. That being said, if you think Haku is stronger than Orochimaru, you'd probably be dreaming. As Orochimaru attempted to brand Sasuke with the Curse Mark of Heaven though, Haku would knock him aside and take it on himself. Orochimaru, knowing he had failed, retreated, hoping to recruit Sasuke another day. Haku was out cold for quite some time, but when he finally woke up, they proceeded to continue their mission in hopes of completing the test. Working together, they took a scroll from a rival team and made their way to the center of the forest. Once they arrived, they were congratulated by Irika for their hard work. Haku would be checked out over the Curse Mark's awakening. They knew that they didn't have enough time to seal it, but Haku told them that they didn't have to. Haku had enough experience and control to not fall prey to it, even though it could serve him a purpose later. This idea scared most who heard it. After all, who would think that they could use Orochimaru's power? After this, it was discovered that Naruto's dream was correct. Rasa had been murdered. When this was reported back to Hiruzen, he charged those Anbu agents not to tell a single soul. Nobody could know that Rasa was dead until they were ready to move, for fear that it might disrupt plans to successfully capture Orochimaru. When the third round came, they were informed it would be split into 2 parts with a month-long break in between. Most of the people in the first round have the same or similar fights, except for Haku. Haku would actually go on to face Gaara. This was a match to behold. Despite his speed and power being below Rock Lee's, Haku was far from defenseless. He was quick enough to dodge Gaara's sand, and during this he threw his Senbon to prod Gaara's defenses. He came to realize that the entirety of Gaara's power was from a single gimmick, that being magnet release and the movement of his sand. If he wished to hurt Gaara, he needed to subdue that magnet release. That's when Haku came up with an idea. He began to utilize his ice release Kekkei Genkai to quickly lower the temperature. Mixing it with his water release, he managed to freeze the sand solid, ensuring that it could no longer be manipulated. Attacking Gaara, he came to realize that Gaara had protected himself with sand, forming armor that was hard to break through, but that was okay. He didn't have to. The reason being that if Gaara had coated himself with sand, he wouldn't be protected from the freezing power of Haku's ice release. Due to Haku's abilities, he managed to freeze Gaara solid. Gaara, however, would release his tailed beast in a desperate attempt to get revenge, and due to this, Haku would end up using his curse mark to increase the potency of his technique. The fact that Gaara was inside of a building while trying to do this meant that he had to take a smaller form. For Haku though, Haku had taken a stronger transformation which increased his power many times. He managed to freeze all of Shukaku for a little bit, until more experienced shinobi got involved and brought Gaara down. This was considered a credit for Haku. Despite using the curse mark, which he was not supposed to use, they had already ruled that the match was over, meaning what happened after with Shukaku was Haku defending Konoha from a possible threat. With the month off, and with the early attack on the Chunin exams, Hiruzen would move quickly and apprehend Rasa the moment he showed up to claim Gaara, revealing Rasa to actually be Orochimaru. Gaara, for reasons of national security, would be sent back to Sunagakure, while Orochimaru would be imprisoned. During the month off though, Naruto has 2 dreams. The first is that he would meet a man who would become an indispensable teacher in the future, and the second is that Orochimaru would escape due to the eventual appearance of the Sound 4 plus Kimimaro. His first dream is received and comes to pass quite quickly, with Naruto taking up Jiraiya as his master, and he starts by learning the technique he saw in his dream, the Rasengan. Jiraiya wanted to start somewhere else, that being Ninetales training, but under the insistence of Naruto that he wanted to learn the Rasengan, Jiraiya takes the time to teach it to him anyway, believing that he and Naruto will have plenty enough time to learn anything else later. But after this, Naruto witnesses another dream that comes to pass just as quickly. His dream about Orochimaru being broken free and the start of the event actually happen only within a couple of hours of each other. Naruto, by this time, has only had enough time to tell and prepare his own team, so they go in alone. He explains that in his dream, he saw a white-haired boy and 4 others attacking the prison holding Orochimaru, and further states that he witnesses Kabuto trying to break Orochimaru free during the skirmish. Team 7 goes about trying to stop these things from happening, with Naruto opting to face Kabuto since he's the only one who really knows where he'll be located. Haku opts to take on Kimimaro, Sakura opts to take Toyuya, Jiraiya takes Jirobo and Kidomaru, and Kakashi is set to take Sakon and Ukon alongside Sasuke. Frankly speaking, the battle between Kakashi and his targets and Jiraiya and his are not hard battles, and they're over rather quickly, but the other battles are a lot closer than they seem. Haku intercepts Kimimaro. As Haku reaches Kimimaro, he speaks, "Your devotion to your master is honorable." Kimimaro's eyes narrow slightly as he looks around for the voice. Who is speaking currently? He then spots a shadow with his eyes, watching from a perch just above. Just someone who understands devotion. Someone who knows what it is to love and lose a master. Then surely you know the lengths to which I will go to bring him back. I do. Even until death, you serve the one who cared for you. Cared for is a bit of a stretch. I serve a purpose to Orochimaru, which is why he kept me around. But that's just the thing. He gave you a purpose, Haku said, finishing what Kimimaro would say next. To say Haku related to Kimimaro was an understatement. In fact, Haku knew exactly what he felt. In a way, Haku had come to understand a lot about himself, about Zabuza, about the world and the people in it. You know, I once had someone special. For a time, he used me to his own benefit, but deep down, I know he really loved me. Whether this is true between you and Orochimaru, I do not know. What I do know is that Zabuza had me do a lot of things I otherwise would not have, but I did them to please him because I was so starved for love that my moral compass made compromises just to feel appreciated, needed, cared about. There is another path, Kimimaro. I know right now it seems like you'll never survive without Orochimaru, but I can promise you that you'll survive. You just need to let go and embrace the path of kindness set before you. Kimimaro stood there silently for a moment, just looking up at Haku. I'm sure you do understand some aspects of me, but you do not know all of me. I will not survive with or without Orochimaru, so there's no point in me resisting his orders. He gave me purpose, and that purpose is all that has kept me alive so far. I will not stop until my master's free. If you wish to stop me, you'll have to kill me. Haku took a deep breath and let out a sigh. Did it have to be this way? Kimimaro was silent for a moment, either for dramatic effect, or perhaps because he truly didn't know, but he finally did speak. I don't know. Maybe in some world, where my circumstances were different, maybe I would have listened to you, but as it stands, time is of the essence for all of us, and I have little time to waste in a conversation with you, if you'll forgive my rudeness. Your urgency does not seem warranted, but I'll take your word for it. It seems I may have misjudged you. There's something deeper binding you to this course. I wish I could help you cast it off, but if this is the path you wish to walk, then I must walk contrary to you. I hope you understand. Kimimaro formed a bone blade in his hand. Unfortunately, I do. From there, they launched into battle. Sakura had come upon Toyuya. Toyuya was one of the Sound 4 sent in to try and get around to free Orochimaru. Really? They sent one little girl to slow me down, she asked with a scoff. This was met by Sakura, who said, "Funny you should say that, because to me it looks strange that they would send one little girl to rescue someone as important as Orochimaru. Though by looking at you, it's hard to tell if you really are a girl." Toyuya's face began to grow red. "Trash," she said. "More interested in looking pretty than being efficient. How do you expect to hide when you don't cover that brightly covered hair? Is that why you hide yours? Or is it that you just realize it's but ugly?" Toyuya was getting fed up with this. What should I expect from a hoity-toity little brat? You probably grew up in a well-to-do family without having to struggle for anything. Makes you weak. Sakura popped her knuckles. And I suppose you grew up in a gutter somewhere without any real training or anything. Hard to get stronger when all you do is scrounge for scraps at the food of an egotistical maniac whose only desire is to use you for his own benefit. Or did you not know that Orochimaru is a total bastard? Wow, pathetic and stupid. Toyuya had reached her breaking point. She jumped down to strike out at Sakura. Self-important, snobby little trashy trollop! Oh look, it has a vocabulary, Sakura said as her kunai caught Toyuya's. Toyuya jumped back and let out a slight giggle as she spoke. You fricked up now, Hex. Toyuya pulled out her flute. I'm going to ensure you suffer the worst possible fate I can think of. She let out a cacophony of sounds. At that moment, the world around Sakura began to melt away as she found herself tied, hanging by a rope by her arms in a dark room with a very dim light. It's then that Toyuya pulled something out. As a girl of fashion, I'm sure you know what this is. It looked like a perfume bottle. What's this supposed to be? Death by overpowering perfume? No, this is something special, she said. She spritzed it on Sakura. Smells like peanut butter? Sakura said. She was doused in it. Okay, I smell like peanut butter. I'm hardly in pain. Toyuya turned on another light that showed a cave. The color faded from Sakura's face. "Oh, now she's nervous," Toyuya said with a smile. "I know this one sucks. I've seen it happen before." "You're not really gonna open that, are you?" Sakura asked. Toyuya smiled as she opened the cage. The masses of rats flocked out towards Sakura. In but a moment, she was covered by them as they gnawed into her. Sakura screamed so much to the delight of Toyuya. "It tickles!" she shouted. Toyuya opened her eyes. "Tickles? It's supposed to be agonizing. You're being eaten alive by rats!" She then noticed the rats crawling up Sakura's arms, gnawing at the ropes, causing Sakura to drop to the ground. "Impossible. That's not how this is supposed to go." Sakura scoffed a bit before commanding the rats behind her to form up. "It was your mistake to put me under genjutsu. I've been practicing with these, and I know my way to get out of them. You see, it's all just a trick of the mind. But the flaw of a genjutsu is that you're now in my mind, not the other way around. Like a dream, you can't convince my mind that something is happening to me, but you can't stop me from controlling my own dreams." Oh, I see. "Lucid dreaming techniques work wonders for genjutsu," she said. "Let's hope you know how to do the same." Sakura pointed forward. The rats raced toward Toyuya. Soon she was covered by her own rats. She screamed in pain as her own genjutsu was turned against her. Back in reality though, Toyuya stood there, mouth wide open, drooling, her eyes displaying only fear and terror. Sakura, having long since awakened, walked over to Toyuya. She gripped her chin and moved it into position. She soon stepped back and put her hands together as if she were checking the scene, measuring it for a shot in a movie. Touching her fist to Toyuya's jaw, she gave a few practice shots that all stopped short. Pleased with the angle and the positioning of her attack, she pulled her hand back as far as it would go. She then threw her entire body into the swing, striking Toyuya so hard that had her jaw not been covered in muscles and skin, it would have just flown off. Toyuya was sent spiraling through the air before landing on her back, where she laid silent. It was at about this time that Kakashi and Sasuke appeared, Kakashi carrying Sakon and Ukon on his shoulders. "Oh wow, you already took care of her." Sakura blew on her bloody knuckles to ease the pain before dusting off the palms of her hands. Easy peasy. She thought genjutsu was a good idea. It wasn't. Naruto stood outside the door when suddenly from the shadows came Kabuto. "Naruto, what are you doing here?" he asked. "What are you doing here?" Naruto shot back. Kabuto looked around. "I was assigned as part of my medical nin training to keep track of the prisoners here. Quite a few of them possess heavy wounds, and Konoha thought it best to put a noob in the prison. At least if I screw up, it at least costs them only a criminal who's already wanted dead." Naruto took a moment to take a deep breath. "I looked at the roster for who's supposed to be working these shifts. You're not on it." "Neither are you. Mistakes happen," Kabuto said. Naruto looked down for a moment and bit his bottom lip before looking up. "What did you come here to do, Kabuto?" Kabuto spoke. "I came to keep track of the medical care of the prisoners." "Cut the crap," Naruto said. "I'm not an idiot, Kabuto. I know exactly why you're here. You're here to set Orochimaru free." "You're delusional," Kabuto said. Naruto shook his head. "No, I know everything there is to know about you. The things nobody else does. I know that you're Orochimaru's lackey. How you and he run experiments together. How you're the sous chef in Orochimaru's kitchen of death. There's no denying it, and no getting around it. There's nothing you can say to change my mind. I already know. It's too late for lies." Kabuto looked down with a sigh before smiling. Naruto spoke again. "What happened to you? I thought you were a good guy, but deep down, under the smile and the helpful attitude, you were always hiding this?" Kabuto stared at Naruto, his smile growing wider. "You truly don't understand the shinobi world. Deception is a part of the mission. You do anything required to gain the trust of the enemy, and then you betray that trust for your own benefit. This is the way the shinobi world works. You think that you have any right to be angry at me? It's what the world does. The only difference is when you do it, you're a hero. When I do it, it's not for a bunch of genocidal maniacs who experiment on children." "Are you sure about that?" Kabuto asked. "You'd be very surprised to see who's on Orochimaru's client list." Naruto tightened his fist. Kabuto sighed. "But you're right. The time for words has come to an end. There's nothing I can say to change your mind, and there's nothing you can say to change mine," he said. Kabuto pulled from somewhere a sharpened scalpel. "It looks like the doctor is in." Naruto spits into the corner. "If that was your attempt to make yourself sound cool, it failed." Kimimaro and Haku were exchanging blows with their weapons. Kimimaro's bone dagger would come in for a strike only to be caught by Haku's senbon. They seemed evenly matched. "You're pretty strong," Kimimaro said. "I haven't had a fight like this in a long time. Not since my clan fell." "Your clan?" Haku asked. Kimimaro nodded. "My clan was the Kaguya clan. I watched them fall that day. Despite how badly they treated me, they gave me a purpose, to the point that I would have followed them to their deaths had it not been for that Jonin and that boy." "What Jonin boy?" Haku asked. "There was a Jonin from Kiri with a very big sword. I asked him if he was a Kiri nin and he said no. I suspect he was lying, but had he said yes, I doubt I'd be here now. When I saw that boy though, I didn't think twice about it, but I came to realize that he was the helper of that ninja. He had a purpose, and that's what I was missing." Haku thought back and realized that he had already met Kimimaro once on the road out of Kiri. Had their paths been set like this for so long? "No matter," Kimimaro said. "I've grown tired of this." Suddenly, his curse mark began to spread like a crisscross pattern over his body. The opening stage of his curse mark of earth. Haku could tell there was a spike in his chakra. Haku stood there. "Are you really going to make me kill you?" Haku asked. "Bold of you to assume you can," Kimimaro said. Slowly, the curse mark of heaven began to spread over Haku's body. "I can." Kimimaro looked at Haku with curiosity. "Has Lord Orochimaru chosen you as his next vessel?" "No," Haku said. Once more they clashed. Haku weaved hand signs, ice release, certain kill ice spears. From below them both, pointed pillars of ice arose in an attempt to kill Kimimaro. But Kimimaro, with his agility, jumped from spike to spike as bones began to protrude from various parts of his body. He parried most of the attacks, but considering how many protrusions there were, it was impossible for Haku to dodge them all, and he did receive quite a few wounds. Kimimaro would kick Haku back. "You may possess the power of the curse mark from my master, but you have yet to master it. There's so much more to it than what you know." Kimimaro proceeded to enter the second stage, something Haku had no clue even existed. Naruto and Kabuto's blades clashed as they pushed away from each other. They circled around each other for a moment before rushing back in for another strike. Naruto caught it with his blade, and it was at this time that Kabuto revealed a second scalpel. He reached forward with it and cut Naruto's arm. Naruto reeled back. Despite there being no visible wounds on his arm, he could feel a burn in there. "I just severed the chakra pathway system to your arm. Good luck moving it now." Naruto looked at it for a moment before throwing his kunai at Kabuto. Kabuto dodged. Naruto would form a Rasengan rather quickly before rushing forward and smashing it right into the side of Kabuto's head. The concussive force mixed with the internal damage the Rasengan tended to do practically obliterated Kabuto's brain, killing him before he even hit the ground. As Kabuto laid there, Naruto fell to his knees. It was then that the others showed up, Sakura and Sasuke along with Kakashi and Jiraiya. They had Sakon, Ukon, Jirobo, Kidomaru, and Tayuya in tow. "Did we do it? Did we stop them from rescuing Orochimaru?" Naruto asked. "Almost," Kakashi said, "but we need to see if Haku has stopped his opponent yet." Kimimaro stood there. Before him was Haku, hunched and wounded. Blood was dripping down. "You know, I can sense from here that most of my friends are either wounded or dead," Kimimaro said. "If they are alive, I will rescue them. And if they're dead, I will avenge them. I will kill whoever did this to them, and I will free Orochimaru as well. This is just the hand you've been dealt. If it's true that we met one other time, then our fates have been crossed ever since. We were fated to both die. Either together or apart, our fates are intertwined. Some things cannot be avoided. Some fates simply want to happen. Your fate was decided long ago, and it was decided that you should die. And now I will be the hand of fate. I will complete my mission and then pass away in peace." Haku fell to his knees. He thought about his friends and everyone he had now, everyone he had grown to love. The new Konoha headband on his forehead had proven he was a shinobi of Konoha now. This place had given him a home, and he owed them all his life. How could he fall here? "Get up," he heard a voice say. "Did I teach you to falter like this? Did I teach you to cower in the face of superior might?" "Master," Haku asked. "I taught you to fight to the end. If death is your fate, then accept it and die, but not before you make him pay the toll. Take your pound of flesh first. Give him everything you've got, absolutely everything. If that's not enough, then it's not enough, but it's better to try and die with honor than to cower in defeat and die dishonorably. Remember how I died. When I died, the demon of the mist didn't perish with me. That title is passed on to you, Haku. Show him your true power. Show him who the demon of the mist is." Slowly, the markings across Haku's body began to spread further as his chakra reserves began to grow deeper. Somehow, Haku had tapped into his second stage. As his skin turned a dark brown, a pair of fleshy wings appeared from his back as horns grew atop his head. Kimimaro had awakened the demon of the mist, and now it was going to tear him apart. Kimimaro formed more bone spikes across his body, but in return, Haku selectively froze parts of his body by freezing the air around them, managing to create armor and weapons from ice without negatively affecting the cells in his body. As they continued to fight, their power was on par with each other, but much like during his battle with Gaara, Haku would utilize his ice release to eject a substance not too different from liquid nitrogen. This doused Kimimaro and froze him in place. Forming an ice hammer, Haku struck Kimimaro, causing him to shatter to pieces. Naruto and the others managed to catch up just as the battle was coming to an end. There they saw Haku standing, his form not too unlike a demon. Slowly it faded as he turned around and looked to the others. He offered a smile as his wounds began to bleed. He fell to the ground. In the time after this, Naruto and Haku would both be admitted to the hospital. Thankfully, they'd both be okay, but due to their injuries, they would not be able to continue in the Chunin exams, leaving Sasuke as the last member of Team 7 still in the exams. He would have to face off against Rock Lee again, but Lee was still ahead of him by quite a bit, which meant that Lee won the match. The finals would be between Neji and Lee. In this battle, Guy told Lee it was okay to go all out, and so Lee removed his ankle weights. His speed and power had increased, but they only continued to shoot up higher and higher. Despite this, Neji managed to keep up with Lee, even into the 4th gate. But upon opening the 5th gate, Lee was able to make use of the Hidden Lotus, which even Neji and all of his taijutsu prowess could not overcome. Lee drilled him into the ground, knocking Neji out cold. Lee was declared the victor and promoted to Chunin, all while Naruto and Jiraiya would leave for some time to train. In doing so, Naruto would better learn to control the Nine Tails. It's during this time that Naruto had the craziest and biggest vision he ever had. In this vision, he sees a future, a barren wasteland where all life, even nature itself, is not spared. A dead world with a single stalk rising to the heavens, and an eye like the Sharingan in place of the moon. He sees it start with the tailed beasts, and views a man with a swirling mask, a creature as black as night, and a man bearing the Rinnegan and orange hair. He sees a hidden cave and a village drenched in rain, to which 6 terrifying figures exist. The dream is so terrifying that Naruto wakes up in the night, drenched in sweat. In a panic, he tells Jiraiya everything. Jiraiya is amazed. In his journeys, he's seen many things, but of all the things he had seen, there were few that matched what Naruto predicted. "The place with the rain sounds like Amagakure," Jiraiya said. "If you saw lavender-ringed eyes, then it could be that you witnessed the Rinnegan. So that means that my student, Nagato, might still be alive." "There's a doubt?" Naruto said. Jiraiya nods. "My student and 2 others formed a group known as the Akatsuki, a peacekeeping group designed to safeguard the world from war. But if you saw them committing atrocities in a war, then something had gone wrong. The thing is, I'd heard my students had all died, killed by Hanzo of the Salamander. I can't explain it, Jiraiya, but I know what I saw." Jiraiya nodded. "And as for that other place, a mountainous region where the remains of many a massive beast can be seen, sounds almost like a place that I visited with Gamabunta one time. He called it the mountain's graveyard, and said that it was a place where many great summons had chosen as their final resting place. It's a peaceful place, out of the way. Ironically, one of the better places to hide. Are you sure this is where you saw it, Naruto?" Naruto nodded. 3 people seem to be behind the destruction of our world. Those people are a man with a swirling mask, a man with a Rinnegan, and a man who possesses a completely black form. They're really strong." Jiraiya thinks about it. "If they're so strong, then we need to double down on our training. You know how you've been having issues controlling the version 2 cloak?" Naruto nodded. "Yeah? What about it?" "It's because the Nine Tails is still in control of that chakra when you use it. If you want to progress, you may need to seize that power for yourself." Naruto understood. And so Naruto and Jiraiya began training to help strengthen Naruto. Jiraiya made it an urgent matter, and had the Toad Sages teach Naruto Sage Mode, which he mastered fairly quickly. Naruto, from then on, used this power in conjunction with Jiraiya in an attempt to wrestle free the chakra of the Nine Tails while issuing a new type of seal. This succeeded, leaving Naruto able to utilize his Nine Tails chakra cloak. With his training in this matter complete, Jiraiya and Naruto decided to make their way to Amagakure in an attempt to discover who it was that was using Nagato's Rinnegan without permission. They skulked about the village for quite some time, asking questions, but they were unaware that they were already found out, and as they moved about, seeking more information on what they'd been promised, they fell into a trap. There, they were met with the 6 paths of pain, one of which Jiraiya could easily identify as Yahiko. But the question was, how did Yahiko get a hold of Nagato's Rinnegan? And how did he find 5 other pairs to transplant to others as well? These were the questions indeed, but the answers they had would not be given to them, not for quite some time. It would be something Naruto and Jiraiya would have to survive if they wanted to find out. But considering that Naruto now had access to his chakra cloak as well as Sage Mode, this increased his efficiency quite a bit. So as Jiraiya was throwing hands with 3 of the 6, generally using his speed and the nearby tunnels to hide in the darkness, Naruto was going toe-to-toe with the remaining 3 paths. As Jiraiya fled through the pipes and sewers under the city, he was glad Naruto was here with him. "Without Naruto here, I'd be dead right now. These guys are ridiculously strong, but I don't think they're completely indestructible." Jiraiya would summon Fukasaku and Shima. He would proceed to buy them time while they prepared their throats for the genjutsu they were going to cast. All the while, Naruto faced off against Diva, Naraka, and Preta. The Preta and Naraka paths attempted to attack Naruto at the same time, but Naruto displays his strength he took from Kurama on top of his Sage Mode powers. This allows him to catch the kicks that came down at him. Peace has a cost. It's quite noble of you to resist and attempt to do things in your own idyllic way, but the world is not a picture book. It's not a place where you can decide what colors go where with your crayons. Not yet, at least. The only way peace will come about is if people universally choose it, and if they refuse to choose it, they will be made to choose it. Naruto could not argue that this plan had merit. It likely would work, but what kind of world would it build then? A peace built on negative emotions was harder to maintain than one built on positive. And even though peace was distant, it was not impossible. With a swift kick to the Predapath's knee, he knocked it sideways before proceeding to put a Rasengan through the Naraka's chest, destroying it. He would quickly dispose of the Predapath as well before it could recover. He then went after Diva, who was already taking evasive maneuvers. Was Diva scared of Naruto? Well, it depends on how interchangeable the word scared could be with the word cautious. Diva did not underestimate Naruto, nor did it underestimate itself. Forming two black receivers in its hand to use as weapons, it went about striking at Naruto, who defended with his kunai and a Rasengan. The Diva Path was no fool. It knew what the full power of the Rasengan was, and so it worked to bat the Rasengan out of Naruto's hand. Naruto managed to disarm one of the Diva Path's hands, knocking away its receiver. He then got dangerously close to planting the Rasengan into its ribs. He could have too had the Diva Path not utilized Shinra Tensei to knock Naruto back. Diva began to calculate its next moves. It considered a Chibaku Tensei next, but found itself unable to, as doing so would devastate the village. Pain may have been a cold man, but he also remembered this place as where he once lived with his friends, and where he had witnessed the distress of others like him. He respected their struggle. They knew pain. He would not force any more upon them, so he opted not to use that. He would just have to find a way to beat Naruto without it. Jiraiya kept to the darkness as Shima and Fukasaku continued preparing their voices for the Genjutsu. This was a dangerous time for him. Ashura, Animal, and the human paths were nearby, and the course of preparing the throats of his two-toed companions meant that they had to make continual noise as to warm up and tune their voices to the fine point they needed. As the three paths came closer, Ashura would release a rocket barrage. Jiraiya would rush down a side pipe to escape, but found the missiles turned in the same direction as him. These missiles were heat-seeking, it seemed. Jiraiya had one idea though, something he hoped would work. He would form a Rasengan and spew fire release, forming his fire release Great Flame Rasengan. As he continued running, he reached another intersection. He threw the flaming Rasengan down the other direction as he ran opposite. The missiles turned and chased after the Rasengan, exploding. The sound was intense, but it just so happened to be at that point that Shima and Fukasaku had finished warming up. The Genjutsu was ready. Jiraiya hid in the darkness as the six paths came around the corner to investigate. It was then that Jiraiya had Shima and Fukasaku cast the Genjutsu, which caught the three off guard. With that, they went down. Jiraiya then proceeded to execute each one while they were down. With these three out of commission, he knew Naruto might need his help. Running back the way he came around the corner to find Naruto fighting the final path. Diva was beginning to gain the advantage by keeping his distance and attacking from afar, something Naruto had yet to counter. But now Jiraiya was here, and he had the element of surprise. Jiraiya would then go about forming a Rasengan and waiting for the perfect moment. When Pain had hopped away, he saw that he was between him and Naruto almost perfect. Jiraiya ran from behind and planted his Rasengan right into the back of the Diva Path, which knocked him forward into Naruto's Rasengan, which he planted in his face. Naruto looked down at the Diva Path. "This is a shame. I really expected more out of Yahiko." "I don't know if this really was Yahiko," Naruto said. "What do you mean?" Jiraiya asked. "Well, in the course of my battle with him, I grabbed one of his black rods. I felt something strange. I knew the location of all those other guys, and I sensed that they all had the same chakra signature. Same as this guy, but more so, this guy's chakra was coming from somewhere else." "Where?" Jiraiya asked. Naruto pointed to the nearby tower, and so they went about infiltrating it. Making it to the top, they found the true body of Pain, the decrepit body of Nagato. By his side was Konan. This both startled and destroyed Jiraiya, down to the heart, seeing the boy he helped raise so messed up. "Nagato, what happened?" From here, Pain began to explain what had happened to him, how his personal views had shifted and evolved based on what the world had done to him. Jiraiya countered, though, that this was not what he meant when he said they could achieve peace. "The peace you speak of is impossible." "No, it's not," Jiraiya said. "It's closer than you think. The issue is we have to fight for it." "What do you think I'm doing?" Nagato asked. "I don't mean like that. Peace formed through bonds is far greater than peace through terror. Peace through terror is the only way." "It's not," Naruto said. "I know you don't know who I am, but I knew you were here, Nagato. I had a dream about you and your 6 puppets," Naruto said. Nagato looked at Jiraiya, who nodded. Naruto continued. I don't know how or why, but I've been given a wonderful gift. The gift of foresight. I can see the future before it occurs. The path you're walking now, I see the end of it. A deserted wasteland. An empty world where there's no more life upon it. But I saw another future. One where we stop this threat before it comes to pass. A future with true, lasting peace. Jiraiya then spoke. Remember all those years ago when I told you that the Toad Sage had a prophecy? A dream that someone would bring the world peace, and I said it was you? Nagato nodded. Did you not believe that? Jiraiya asked. Do you believe that I or the Toad Sage are wrong? Nagato shook his head. I believed it. It's why I continued down this path at all. Then listen to Naruto, Jiraiya said. Peace is possible, but if it occurs, it's based solely upon the decision you make right here, right now. You can choose to continue your current path, and either you'll die or we'll die, and the end result will be the end of the world. But if you choose to join us, it'll see the world brought to peace. What do you choose? The mountain's graveyard was where Obito and Zetsu spent most of their time in preparation for the war, the Fourth Shinobi World War. The war where the last of the impossible-tailed beasts were drawn out to battle. There, Obito would awaken the Ten Tails and finish the plan Madara had started, but he would craft the world into the image he saw, not Madara's. He would need to do something about Black Zetsu though. As he thought on these things, he sat upon his throne. That is when he saw 6 shadows standing before him. Rising from his seat, he walked forward to see the 6 paths of Pain approaching him. Lord Pain, to what do I owe this honor? He asked, beginning to wonder how Pain had found him. There's a change in the plans, Pain said. Oh, what kind of change? Obito asked. You are no longer in them. Pain's Diva Path raised his hand and released a Shinra Tensei with enough force to throw Obito back into his stone throne, destroying it. In the midst of the commotion, Black Zetsu appeared. Naruto, who had been hiding above, dropped down and planted a tailed beast-fueled Rasengan right into him, evaporating him entirely. Obito managed to sit up. Seeing Black Zetsu gone wasn't exactly tragic to him, as he had planned to be rid of him eventually. But currently, he had something bigger going on. Pain had gotten a big head. No matter, it would be easy for him to deal with Pain at a later time. But for now, he needed to get away and secure the Zetsu army before Pain and the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki destroyed it all. He attempted to use Kamui to get away, but Pain utilized his Bansho Tenin to pull Obito toward him, back out of the portal he had formed. Pain formed a chakra receiver that he was planning to pierce him with. Obito saw it coming and used his Kamui to phase through Pain. Okay, it seems like I have to deal with you now. No matter, Obito said, as he turned around and utilized the wood release he kept on reserve from his Zetsu cells to pierce a hole straight through Diva. Naruto came running at Obito to help. As he did, he noticed Diva's corpse was still holding the black receiver. Pain had used these to control his 6 paths. The question was, what all could Nagato control with them? Naruto picked it up. Obito was systematically destroying each of the 6 paths of Pain. With Diva already down, they were in disarray. They had lost their strongest fighter, and now it was 1 man against 5, not counting Naruto. Due to Obito's phasing ability, it was near impossible for him to be touched. The human path would, if it were serious, be able to scoop his soul clean out, but it failed to even touch him, let alone remove his spirit. But the one he wanted to take out right now was Naraka, as it was already moving toward Diva. Using his wood release, he skewered Naraka, eliminating it as well. Predapath attempted to absorb his jutsu, but the issue was there was nothing to absorb. Obito was currently in a different dimension, and Preda could not affect him there, so Preda was the next to fall. Human fell after. The remaining paths attempted to escape, but Obito was on them in a second. The last path standing was Animal, and Obito cornered it. Right as he struck it down, Naruto struck out. Knowing Obito had to turn tangible if he wanted to strike someone, he pierced him with the black rod. Despite it doing minimal damage to him due to his body being formed partially of Hashirama Senju's cells, Naruto sensed what had happened and utilized his own chakra to interfere with Obito's, ensuring he couldn't use his ninjutsu. Obito tried to use Kamui to escape, but found that so long as he was pinned to the wall by this, he couldn't. He struggled to get free of the rod, but was too slow. Naruto formed a big ball Rasengan and pushed it into Obito, ending him there. With the battle won, Naruto knew he had avoided the greatest crisis he had ever witnessed. But now came the hard part. Bringing about peace. Jiraiya and Naruto helped steer Nagato back to the right path. They helped him get past the loss of Yahiko. It was then that Naruto dreamed of all the shinobi world united under the Rinnegan, and began to believe that Nagato was still the child of prophecy that Gamamaru had predicted. The same stock that he saw drain the world of life, he also saw bring the world under control, but only if Nagato wanted it enough. And so, with his connections to Hiruzen and Hiruzen's connections to the other villages, they managed to get a large enough sample of the other tailed beast's chakra, with which they used to awaken the Ten Tails, and Nagato proceeded to seal inside of himself. Through doing this, Nagato was completely healed of his wounds he had received all of that time ago when he and his friends were attacked by Hanzo. With these new powers and his heart freshly reminded of the importance of peace, Nagato took his place as the next Sage of Six Paths. Through the remembrance of the original dream that Yahiko had, Nagato proceeded to show kindness to the other villages, bringing about brotherhood. Naruto and Jiraiya constantly by his side, they managed to mediate between all 5 great nations, and helped avoid great wars from that point on. And with the power of Nagato at such a peak, so few threats ever seemed to be more than just an annoyance. Sasuke would eventually have to face his brother in combat, but Itachi would lose by his own volition, letting his little brother win. Itachi would die, taking the truth about the Uchiha massacre with him to the grave. Sakura not only would become a professional medical nin, but her studies in genjutsu, particularly how to resist it, proved to be more than enough to revolutionize the way it was used both by and against Konoha, and how they could counter it. Haku was very gifted, and due to his background he would be welcomed into the Anbu for a time, where he'd become one of the most powerful shinobi there. However, Hiruzen would recognize that Haku simply didn't have the heart for such dirty work, and would be allowed to retire from that post. Haku had never done anything besides be a shinobi, and wasn't sure where to take his life if not being an Anbu. That was when Naruto reminded Haku of what he'd been doing when they first met, picking flowers. To that end, Haku joined Yamanaka's flower shop, where he learned more about the flowers and eventually would open a rival store, though the two were good faith rivals ever since. Eventually, Hiruzen would retire and hand over the position of Hokage to Jiraiya, who didn't want it. Tsunade didn't want it, and Hiruzen definitely wasn't going to let Danzo have it, so for the time being, Jiraiya would become Hokage, until such a point as Naruto was intelligent enough and strong enough to take the position. At that point, Naruto no longer seemed to receive any new visions of the future, but despite that, it didn't take clairvoyance for him to see that their future was bright. And that's the end of this story. I hope you liked it. As I said earlier, I was very much inspired by abilities such as those displayed by Shion from the first Shippuden movie, Koji Kashin and his 10 directions, and even by Gamamaru's own ability to predict the future. With such an ability, I can see Naruto taking the proper roads to bring peace the only way he knows how. This is what I think would happen, but what about you? How do you think it would play out? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more content like it, make sure to like, subscribe, and ring the bell to tell YouTube how much you want to see more of this. And until that time, check out these other videos by our channel. Until next time, peace out.